All right, we're good.
We on the air?
Yep. All right, everyone, welcome. Sorry we're a couple of minutes late. We're about 11 minutes late. Here we got Jake Hawk, USNC retired, and myself, Jarhead6, and we were both retired Marines, and not only retired Marines, we senior Marines, staff NCO. So we had the opportunity to participate in different things in the war. And we got some experience, so I kind of thought that we could talk about the whole U.S. versus Russia because it's a hot ticket item right now. Everybody's talking about it. So first thing, Jake, you want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, most of y'all probably know me. I'm JH6 USMC retired, or that's the channel I'm using right now. Anyways, I'll go ahead and put my little up here, but I just do on my new channel. All I'm doing is videos on preparedness and gear and stuff like that. But I try to do short videos. I'm going to leave all the shout outs and VRs to my larger channel, mostly because that's the best way to do things. The retired channel is just to put out information. That's all it is.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know, for some reason this microphone is not really working that good, bro. But this last video that we were talking about that you just put out, really good video. If you guys haven't watched it, go ahead and take a look at it, because pretty cool video. So I agree 100% how you have your gear set up. It's a pretty good rig. All right, so pretty much, what do you think is the threat here? We got Russia doing whatever they want, pretty much not paying attention to anything that the U.S. is saying. At this point, they're pretty much laughing at us. Apparently, while they took over a section of the country that if they have that section, they will have access to the western side, because what is it, the Black Sea or something? So, and also, I guess that part of the country is heavily Russian people live there. They actually speak the language and everything. So what do you think is going to be the threat of this guys taking over that country? You think it's actually the United States is facing some type of threat because of that?
I think, okay, right now Putin is playing chess and Obama's playing marbles. That's how bad our foreign policy is. And it's not that I don't like Obama as the president. It has nothing to do with that. It's just he is completely out of his league. And unfortunately, all of his advisors, they're out of their league too. They're not listening to the people that know what's going on. And in reality, if Putin is allowed to keep the area of Caspian, or what is it called? It's not Caspian. It's damn, I can't even remember what it's called now. But half of Ukraine is actually more towards Russia. Mm-hmm. So he may not stop in the Crimean. That's the name of the Crimea. He's not going to stop with just Crimea. He's going to go and take over. Because the whole bottom half of the Ukraine, all of the Black Sea area, is actually, they're very close to the Russian people and the Russian-speaking. The Ukraine right now, if they were to actually fire a shot, that would be exactly what Putin wants, because then he could say, hey, I'm only defending myself, and conquer the whole country. My biggest problem with all of this is in 1994, we signed a treaty with the Ukraine. When the Soviet Union busted up and the Ukraine became its own country, they became the 4th largest nuclear power on the planet, because all of the Russian nuclear missiles were right there, right? We talked them into getting rid of those nuclear missile capabilities because they didn't have the infrastructure and the command structure to control that stuff. We talked them into giving us that stuff, and we would guarantee their sovereignty. And what are we doing now? Ah, well, it's just a little piece of the Ukraine, so Russia, go ahead. Can we fight Russia right now? No, we can't. Why? Because we got troops in Afghanistan. We have 60-something thousand troops there. And because of Pakistan and the trouble we're having with them, our main supply route to those troops in Afghanistan go through Russia. Putin's got us he's got us. He's got us. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, and you can't write off 60,000 troops. But we can't just let him do whatever he's going to do, because you know what? What did Hitler do? What did he do? In the 30s, Austrians, they're hurting the German-speaking people in Austria, so they annexed Austria. The European countries let them do it. Then right after that, oh, well, you know, in the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia, we got German folk, and they're in trouble there. So he marches in and takes them. Europeans do nothing. Then he takes over all of Slovakia. Next comes Poland and Danzig. We know what happens there. It leads to war. We're so weak right now because we don't even have freaking missile defense. You know, which, by the way, the Star Wars programs, what destroyed Russia or the Soviet Union, and we just gave it up for nothing. Yeah, we're weak, and Putin is strong, and he's laughing at us. Laughing at us. We're playing marbles. He's playing chess. And just so you know, the Black Sea is important to him because it's our only warm water port. But his next move will be Turkey, because you can block off the Black Sea by taking control of Turkey.
We have a bunch of things in Turkey as well. So, you know, I don't think the U.S. would allow that. But then again, I mean, you're absolutely right, man. I think the last conversation we had, I said it. I don't really agree. I don't think war is the answer, and not because I don't want to comply with whatever we signed back when you said in the 70s.
1994.
94. Yeah. It's now that not complying with that is just the fact that we cannot do it. We just can't do it, and I think that's what the Russians know. We are in Afghanistan. We have thousands of troops out there. We've been fighting there for what? 2001, so 13 years. I mean, I spent 12 months in Afghanistan, and we've been fighting there. We have the country's in debt, so a war with Russia will cost us billions of dollars, and we just cannot afford it. We just cannot go there and afford it. And I think they know that, and because they know that, they're going to take advantage of it. And it goes back even to our military. Do you actually think our military is ready to fight this war?
No.
You know, one of the and CNN was talking about it. I don't like watching CNN too much, but every now and then I watch it. But you hear the president saying, you know, hey, the Congress is not here right now because of weather. You know, we got 5 inches of snow. Those guys have like 85 inches of snow out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's not going to stop them from fighting the war. So like CNN was making fun of them. You talking to a country that has a crazy amount of inches of snow, and you're going to send a military out there. I mean, they've been for the last, 12, 13 years, 14 years, we've been training for desert operation, you know, for insurgents, looking for the Taliban, looking for these guys. And now we're going to switch into this type of warfare. Well, I don't think we're ready. And don't get me wrong. I mean, we all know what U.S. Marines can do. The Army can do a lot of things too. If you're watching K-Bar and Ted, the Army, go Army. You guys can do a lot of things. You know, the Navy does a great job. Air Force does everybody does a great job. And if we have to take care of business, we're going to take care of business. But how much is going to cost us? If we go to war with those guys, how much is going to cost the U.S. And I'm not even talking about money. I don't care about the money. I'm talking about Americans' life. How many people are going to die in this conflict? You know?
Hmm.
So that's just my take on it, and I get pretty disgruntled when we talk about this because and your brother was in Fallujah, and I was in Fallujah as well. I didn't go door to door in the city of Fallujah. That's not what I did, but we got hit. My truck got hit with a 107 round. We hit 2 car bombs. And a bunch of crazy things happened during the Fallujah time because I mean the whole country was going crazy.
Yeah.
And what? 2014, 10 years later, the town is lost. I don't even know if the Iraqis took the town over again. But last thing I heard, we lost the city to the Taliban. Or not Taliban. What do we call the guys in Iraq? Insurgents, whatever we call them.
Well, no, the Al Qaeda flag.
Al Qaeda. There we
I
go.
heard the Al Qaeda flag itself was flying over Fallujah and Ramadi. My brother fought in both of those.
I went to Ramadi several times. I mean, I did 2 tours in Iraq, and we all did. And what I'm trying to say is that the Fallujah battle was one of the battles that we lost. I don't even know the amount of Americans' life we lost, but Marines went door to door, and a lot of people got killed. For what? You know what I'm saying? It's done. The Al Qaeda is back there. 10 years later, they're back there. So how many people are we going to lose over this war, and for what reason? What are we going to gain out of that? Are we going to gain anything? Or are we going to go there and lose 3,000 Americans' life? And I got to tell you, for people that are listening, the only people who are going to suffer is the military members, military wife, guys that serve in the military that we know the pain, and some of the patriots. Probably, if you listen to my channel on Jarhead6 and USNC, JH6 USNC retire, you probably like us, so you're probably going to suffer as well. But everyone else is going to be dealing with Justin Bieber and what's going on in the news and Facebook, and the military is going to suffer. We're going to have hundreds of people die for what? For 6 years from now, they go back and fight again. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's like looking at the chat box there, Amfob channel. I don't know who's running that one right now. I actually watch a lot of different news sources, not just Fox News. But I can tell you, MSNBC, all they've been airing all day is the political garbage that's going on in the country today. CNN has been playing a mix of both. Fox has been playing a mix of both. I like to get a lot of different sources. I don't just watch one channel. But I got to tell you, it's like when it comes to Russia, the biggest thing that pisses me off about this whole situation is our foreign policy for the last 6 years has been so damn weak that we are pathetic now in the eyes of the world. You watch, China is going to start making moves towards Japan now because we're weak. We are weak. We got a Secretary of Defense up there who last week said, "Oh, well, we're going to trim down our personnel, the blood, the muscle, and the bone and the tissue of the military. We're going to trim that down so we can cut our budget down a little bit. But, we're still going to pay for that research and all the new toys." So the military-industrial complex still gets its money, and we're just going to force more missions onto the people that actually do the job. And we're going to cut below World War II levels. And now you got this Russia thing going off, and what do we have? We have the defense secretary up on the Capitol Hill today pushing, no, we're just going to trim down. Everything is rosy. We're all good. Bull. I want to say more, but bull. I mean, it kills me. We are weak at this point. We have the power to be the superpower, the dominant superpower. And in the last 6 years, we've went from being the cream of the crop to now we got Russia. Russia, of all people, their economy sucks so bad we could destroy them economically. We wouldn't even have to fire a shot. And now, today, you got Putin saying, you know what? Go ahead, America. Keep pushing our buttons. We'll stop doing all trade in dollars and switch to something else. Really? You know, the last two countries that tried that, guess what happened? First one, Iraq. Iraq switched from the dollar to the euro. The second country, oh, by the way, just so y'all know, me and Jarhead6 spent some time in Iraq afterwards. The next country that did that, Libya. Muammar Gaddafi was trying to get the dinar, a gold dinar for the African countries. What happened to him? Think about it. Now you got Putin going, yeah, go ahead, keep poking us there, America. Our economy is already crap as it is. I want to go back to the old Soviet era. I will take everybody's stuff and we'll just switch over to a different economy and watch your economy fall in the tank. That's what I mean. If we were the superpower that we were 7 years ago, he would have never thought of doing that.
You know, and Solo White just talked about the whole. If you're following the comments, the whole military cuts is making the U.S. weak, and it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you cannot take the leadership, and take him out and make him retire. Those guys, there is something that you know out of experience. I went to Iraq in 2002, December, to 2003, I don't know, June, July, whatever it was. I think it was June, for the first war, in Iraq. And then I went again, and then I went again, and then I went again, and then we could go all day on this one. But the point is that it's some things that you learn out of having experience. That's why in the Marine Corps you see staff NCOs, and they know their job. And when you make these guys retire, and don't get me wrong, some of those guys do have to retire. But when you start doing drastic cuts that way, who are you taking out of the Corps? Because you cannot get rid of that experience. If you look at the guys fighting in 2003 versus the guys fighting now, I mean, there's a totally different environment. The guys right now, a lot of them know how to fight because they've been doing it for years. I mean, I'd had Marines in my squad, in my platoon, that have confirmed kills. Those guys have killed people. Yeah. And when they tell you, hey, look, we got to do an operation this way, it's because they know what to do. That has been proven in combat zone. That's not something they're watching YouTube. This is like the real deal.
Yeah, they didn't when you get those guys from Call of Duty. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't playing Call of Duty. When you make those guys get out, you lose that experience. And I mean, I don't even know if our boys are ready to fight, to tell you the truth. I mean, they've been fighting for too many years. A lot of those guys have PTSD. A lot of those guys have TBI. A lot of those guys have lost their families. A lot of those guys have a lot of issues because the war have affected them really bad. So, I mean, I don't know if I said this or not. My take on this situation will be bring our boys back, recap, kind of. If you ever learn what a delay attack is when you take a break, you start fighting, and then you take a break and you come back and you reorganize and then you strike again. And not saying that you're backing up, not saying that you're not going to do anything about it, but you may want to like retract, maybe for a year or two, I don't know, sometime, rebuild our military, and then take control again. Because right now, people think we're weak, and we probably are, because we have 60,000 Marines and not Marines, military guys in Afghanistan. I mean, how can we go to war? We got our guys in Afghanistan. We cannot go to war with another country, especially Russia, man. I don't even think we could do it, to tell you the truth. Like, I have doubts that we could do it.
The biggest problem with Russia is this: Putin is KGB trained, KGB trained. Okay, their idea is win no matter what. If that means if we're kicking their butt on land, and so they fire off some nukes, then that is cool with them as long as they win. Period. That's not good. That is not good. And Obama has been freaking, oh, we're not going to do the missile defense shield anymore because it offends who? The Russians. And now who do we have trouble with? The Russians. We could have already had a missile defense shield up and running right now had we have continued that. And now we can't even go back to it because the leaders of Poland, the leaders of Czechoslovakia, and all of those countries, they're going to be, if America came back to them, hey, we're going to go ahead and restart up that missile defense shield, they're going to laugh because we left them high and dry. Bush was gung-ho for it. He was like, here, we're going to go ahead and do it. As soon as Obama came in, we're not going to do it. No, we don't need to. We're going to hit the reset button. Problem is, somebody forgot to tell Putin we were resetting.
Yep.
It's crazy, straight up crazy. And I'm not somebody who wants war. I'm pissed off that we're in the situation we're in. It's foreseeable. We should have known this was going to happen, and the idiots that are in charge did not see it. I'm telling you, a month and a half ago, I saw a retired Marine lieutenant colonel on Fox News go, you watch. All this stuff that's happening in the Ukraine is only going on right now because the Olympics is coming up. And Putin wants to show the world that he's a good guy. But the very moment the Olympics is done, he will crush this Ukraine problem. 2 days after the Olympics is done, he crushed it.
The guys just don't care what we have to say. Like the president of the United States could stand in the news and say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this. He just doesn't care what you gotta say. He's gonna do what he wants to, and he's told it already. And when you have an individual that tells you straight out, hey, look, dude, I don't care what you said, United States, I'm gonna do whatever I want. That has to be taken very seriously. That is a threat against our country right there. Because the guy is going to do whatever he wants. He doesn't care. And like you said it, what was it? A couple of months ago with the whole thing in Syria, he backed up Syria again. And he told the U.S., again, I don't care what you guys say. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to back up Syria. Now he did it again.
Jessica.
I mean, the guy is definitely a threat to our country.
Hey, real quick before General Banter jumps in, I just want to. Jughead said that the Crimean people voted to join the Russian Federation. Okay, yeah, maybe they did. If I put a gun to your head and tell you to vote for the Russian Federation, what are you going to do? That's all that needs to be said. And just so you know, it actually goes against the Ukraine law. If Crimea wants to vote to join the Russian Federation, there is a way to do it legally, but the whole country has to vote for it, not just the people in Crimea. But okay, hey, General Bender, I'd love to hear what the Canadians think about what's going on.
Well, I mean, we look at it from a distance in a sense, obviously. I mean, from the past, we do get involved when asked, I suppose, and we have our participation level, no doubt. But quite frankly, everybody I've been speaking to, my buddies and stuff, law enforcement, and some military guys, Canadian military, active and non-active even, this has been conversation for the last week, obviously. And it's the same thing. You know what? This could go a couple of different ways, and it's really, I mean, to say it plainly, it's kind of scary because they are a powerhouse. It's, to me, I've said it before. You know what? I look at China and Russia as being, and they're obviously the biggest threats. I mean, and U.S. These are the big players. But China is, I can't necessarily say that China's not on U.S. side, but you know what? They were basically both Russia and China were sitting there saying, you know what? At one particular point for our last little issue with Syria, I believe, they said, you know, you come in there, there's going to be problems. And if you know, China's just sitting back. They're playing a chess game, except they're allowed to miss a few moves and just sit back and take notes.
Yeah.
You know what? And if they go over, just like you said, Jayhawk, they could just go over and skip over that 90 miles to go grab to grab a hold of Japan.
The Sudoku Islands is what they're trying.
Yeah. So, like I said, this could be a giant game of chess at this particular point. And why? The curious thing with us is why, right after the Olympics. Like, why did they host them? Why did they put all of that security in to make sure everything was perfect? And then all of a sudden, bang, they went for it. You know,
2 days later. 2 days later.
To me, you know, you don't just randomly do that. You don't randomly do that. That's planned.
You don't put 150,000 troops into a small area like that and not knowing you're going to do something immediately after they're done. That whole terrorist threat could very well have easily just been a ploy for him to put those troops there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Putin's playing chess and we're playing marbles. We're not even playing checkers anymore. We're playing marbles. I'm not for war. I think war against Russia would be the worst possible thing we could do, and there are no winners. They will use nukes just like we will nuke back. There's no winners, period. You know, the game is over at that point. It's not worth playing. It just pisses me off that we're losing so bad at this game.
And you're probably right, Jacob, and that's why I say that we should not by any means go to war, because no one's gonna win. All they're doing is talking BS back and forward, and the only people that are going to suffer are the people that are going to lose family members. The Marines, Army, Air Force, you know, I don't even know if the Coast Guard will make it. Whoever makes it out there in our military, our civilians that will go there, the families when they get killed are the people who are going to suffer, and no one's going to win. So I don't know, to tell you the truth, why we find ourselves in this situation. We got a whole Congress and a whole government out there, and I don't know what type of job or what job they're doing, because we keep finding ourselves in this type of situations. And it seems like the United States is going down instead of going up. But, you know, maybe I should run for president. Oh, wait, I can't.
What are you talking about? According to some people, we got a president who's not from our country either. I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just throwing that out there.
I could go to Iraq and Afghanistan, but I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the biggest problem with all of this is, again, we're just so feckless right now. Our foreign policy is so far out of whack that, you know, everything has been focused on domestic. And look where we're at. We got Obamacare now, or Democrat care. That's what I really like to say, because they're the ones that voted for it. No Republicans did. It was all the Democrats. So we got Democrat care, which is destroying our economy. I mean, we should be roaring back right now, and we're not. Why? Because nobody knows what's going on. We got a president who freaking thinks he's king and has changed the law by himself. I think they said he's up to 37 changes now. Yeah,
I mean, he's gonna do whatever he wants, with or without the Congress. I mean, that's what he said, with or without Congress.
Yeah. Well, you know, his with or without Congress, he's talking about doing economic sanctions against Putin, which Putin said, if there's any economic sanctions, there will be repercussions. If I was a troop sitting in Afghanistan right now, I'd be wondering how much supplies we actually have and how long can we hold out. Because the first thing Putin will do is cut off those supply lines. That is the very first thing. And I got to tell you, I don't have any confidence in our current government that they are currently working with the Pakistanis going, you better open up this road. I have no faith in the confidence of our foreign policy people to go, hey, Pakistan, we're going to pay you an extra 10 mil each trip. We're opening up this road again. I have no faith in that. I have a feeling Obama just let those 60,000 troops sit there and die.
Yep. I
He
mean,
wants to reduce our military. Well, hey, we just cut off 60,000 right there.
He did left our dead bodies of our military members sitting in a place and not pay their families money. Remember?
Yep. Oh, trust me, that really.
That's unbelievable.
Hey, but the welfare checks went out, the food stamp checks went out, but the dead service members, yeah, their widows don't afford they don't get the rights to greet their loved ones when they come home. Oh man, I was mad about that.
And then again, I remember shipping things to Afghanistan, and in many occasions we have to ship even a percentage higher because we are already expecting to lose so much because we know those guys are corrupted. I mean, any business that we made with the Pakistani government is pretty much it's not solid because those guys are corrupted. I mean, there is no, you know what I'm saying? There is no guarantee on anything when it comes down to making business with those guys.
Yeah. You know, I also want to get back to a point real quick, but Gun Crazy 81, he asked if this could actually start like a no kidding SHTF situation. Yes, it actually could. I think it could. It depends on what moves we make. And again, I just come back to I don't have confidence in the people we have up there anymore. And I don't have confidence in our military leaders anymore. In the last 6 years, there has been a purge of the military officer at the flag rank officer, so from the rank of colonel to 4-star general. There has been a purge, and over 200 flag rank officers have been fired. And we're talking people like General McChrystal, who, you know, he was responsible for the surge, or you know, enforcing all of the surge as far as in Iraq, which calmed Iraq down for us. And then we sent him over to Afghanistan, and because some of his people didn't like President Obama, they fired him. You can't purge that much experience from our military and expect, because it takes decades to get to that level. And when you purge a 4-star general, well, guess what? Now you got to reach back and grab a 3-star general and promote him early, which means you have to go back and grab a 2-star general and promote them early. So you're putting people in positions where they're getting there before they should be there. That's just like, and you know, and I hate saying that I'm going to go this direction here, but allowing gays in the military. First off, what was wrong with Don't Ask, Don't Tell? What was wrong with it? Nothing. Everybody was like, you know what? Fine, we can live with it. But now you've got the openly serving
the guys that were gay. People knew it. Like you knew this guy was gay. You just didn't ask, and he didn't tell. But you knew he was gay.
Exactly. But once they went with the open policy, I got to tell you, I knew field grade officers, majors and lieutenant colonels, which for anybody who doesn't know, the generals don't come up with the war plans. The generals come up with the idea, what they want to do. We call it commander's intent. The lieutenant colonels and the majors are the ones that actually go, this unit will do this at this time, and this unit over here in conjunction will do this, this, and this. The majors and lieutenant colonels are the ones that actually do the plans.
Yeah.
I know a major that resigned the day gays were allowed to openly serve. So he purged the military. I mean, this major, he had 18 years in the military and said, I will not do this. This goes against my beliefs. This is a social issue that should not be an issue in the military. He resigned that day. He turned in his paperwork. Many others did the same thing. Us enlisted guys, we had to just turn in our retirement paperwork and wait for it to come back.
We were told to suck it up.
Yeah.
But
So I gotta tell
what you have to. We don't care how you feel. We don't care how you believe. We don't, and that's something that, you know what? Thanks God that I'm retired, because we don't care that you believe in God and this and that. We don't care about you. You will deal with this. So
Yeah.
it goes back to, like, look, man, if you want to be gay, be gay. That's on you. That's not on me. Trust me. I done bad things that I will have to answer for. So I'm not a saint. I've done a lot of bad things, and I'm probably going to answer for that. But don't tell me that I have to accept your way of life. I have to accept you, but you cannot accept me. That's what.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
What I'm talking about goes beyond that. I don't really want to go onto that issue. I'm just saying that was a way to purge people. I got out because of that. I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I don't want any part of this. And you know what? I got out a month before, so I can say I never served where it was openly allowed.
Mm-hmm.
But they did that. That was a way to purge people who don't agree or who will not conform to their ideology. And they did it. And we lost so much experience because of that. And some people may say, oh, well, you're being selfish because you got out. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. You get put in a position where you have to defend somebody that is so sick in the head that you morally can't support them. I mean, you can't do it. And as a Marine leader, whether you like the person or not, you have to stick up for them. You know, and I don't care what the polls said. When they said 80% of the American public wanted this, I'm like, well, 1% of America actually serves, so whatever that 1% says should be the rule of law. No. And by the way, they came out and said 70% of the Marine Corps said it was okay. No, it was 70% of the Marine Corps that said hell no to that.
The commoner Marine Corps general said that no.
It was 70% of the Air Force that agreed to it, not the Marine Corps. And General Amos was against it, too. He was against
going that he will have to suck it up.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if we're going off the into something
we
else.
are, but it all comes back to the purge. Right now, in the staff NCO levels, you have a lot of people who should not be where they are. You have 10-year gunnery sergeants. You know what? You don't pick up gunny until the 15th year usually. Yeah. But now you've got 10-year gunnery sergeants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I picked up stats on
all of that experience.
Almost 9 years, 8 years and 11 months, I think it was. So about 9 years in the Corps. That's when I picked up staff sergeant. So.
Yeah, that's about average.
That's about average. Actually, in my occupation, that was a little bit too fast because it's normal to see 10 to 11-year sergeants. But yeah, you're right. Some of those guys, 10 years. I sing a 14-year master sergeant, EA, and that's just ridiculous. But let me see. Let me ask you something to you guys. And Tom, you were Marty, special forces and all that good stuff. Do you actually think that because I'm actually worried. I don't know if I'm worried or not, but do you think that we could actually fight these guys and actually win? Or you think it's going to be a really a bad fight? Are we prepared to fight these guys? I guess that's my question.
Are we prepared to fight the Russians?
If we go face to face, are we prepared to fight those guys?
Not right now.
What about you, JH6?
No nukes? No nukes?
I think just keep it conventional.
Yeah, I think we actually could. We'd lose a lot of people, though. A lot of people.
Not right now.
Keep in mind the T-90 tank. I think it's their most advanced tank. Yeah, it would be lambs to the slaughter to the Abrams tanks. The biggest problem is we don't have as many Abrams as we used to, because the Army's moving to the Strikers. So Europe would get decimated before we would just have to hope we could hold on to something long enough to get some of our troops there. If it stayed conventional, but again, the Soviet Union, their old doctrine was win at all costs. They had tactical nukes sitting in Cuba to hit the Marines when we came to invade them. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, General Banter was sitting there shaking his head. He knows what I'm talking about. They'll do whatever they have to. And the moment, oh boy, hits that reset, I mean, the red button that says fire, we're going to retaliate with the same response, and we're all dead at that point.
I mean, they've got a ship sitting in Cuba. I mean, or they did. I don't know if it's still sitting there. I haven't caught it. But again, that to me, that's not a great sign. They've been doing this for the last year. They've been sailing vessels, down the coastlines of England and so on, just in Scotland, just to see what the response is. And they've been playing. And like I said, I think this has been probably in the works for the last year for sure. It has. So I wouldn't want to see you guys go. I really wouldn't. As a Canadian, I would sit there and say, do whatever you can. But try not to go head to head, because it's not going to be good for anybody. You're right, Jayhawk. You know what? I think the better part of Europe would have to pay the price first. And you know what? The other thing is right too. They could just go ahead and send a nuke over, and then what? I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of like a.
It's a big chess game, is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
I'm telling you, they're playing chess. We're playing marbles. You watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Black Sea is only good for the Russians if they can still get through the canal zone there in Turkey. So they're either going to make a move on Turkey, or they're going to get Turkey to join them, because that Black Sea fleet can't do anything unless they can get through Turkey. We got to think. I'm hoping somebody in the government's going, well, Turkey is a part of NATO. Well, so is Russia. Russia's a part of NATO too. So which side are they going for? And it's going to be the side that poses the biggest threat to them. And right now they're landlocked right next to Russia. So I wonder, which side would Turkey actually go with?
That's a silly question, really. Because I'll tell you, I know what I go.
I don't think they're real happy with us in the first place.
No.
I just, you know what, man? I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying the whole, hey, you know what? We gotta go up there and defend those guys. I'm not buying it, because, and I tell you this, I walked in Iraq. I walked in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, we have the Taliban will go into villages and kill people. Like, I'm talking exterminate a whole village. Like, America doesn't even understand that. Like, we think that a shooter goes inside a school and kill some people, and that's horrible. But this is a country that an entire city gets killed, like hundreds of people. And we go up there and we do our thing or whatever, but and now we're talking about this country, but you see other countries like Cuba. You talk about Cuba. How long has Fidel Castro been there? Since 1959. And what have we done? Nothing. But now we want to pick. Exactly. There is no resources there. There is nothing that the U.S. won. So instead, we will allow a dictator to kill people, incarcerate, put people in jail for years and years and years, and the guy did this in 1959, and now his brother's in control.
Yeah, but don't
So
forget.
why did the U.S. let that happen? Though? I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a second. So why did they let that happen?
Because they don't care.
They let it happen.
No resources.
No, it's not that.
What do you think?
They've known for years that Cuba is a catalyst country.
You think if Cuba had oil, the U.S. wouldn't be there?
Nope. They'd be there as we still have the presence we have there now, but they've known for years that Cuba is a catalyst country. Anybody starts like Cuba could start the whole thing off. That's why they've never done anything about it.
I think
Russia's nubbing up against him right now.
They would take him out already. If Cuba had oil, they would have taken him out, that guy already. I mean, the concept, what I'm trying to say is the concept is taking care of people. We need to go out there to help people. Well, you don't help people in this country, but you're picking a country that you want to help. And I'm not willing, me personally, I'm not willing to go into a country where we're gonna lose hundreds of Americans' life for freaking no reason.
Bro, you're thinking small ball. You're saying hundreds. It wouldn't be hundreds.
No, thousands.
Hundreds of
thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell me why we're gonna go into a conflict that is gonna guarantee kill thousands of Americans' life for what? What are we gonna gain out of that?
Well, I'll tell you what. Go to the library.
It's just a question. You know what I'm saying? I'm just asking a question.
Just go to the library and look up a book called The Third World War. I'll get you the name of the author tomorrow because it's back on my bookshelf. If you read this book, you're going to live in your basement because the entire book, which was written probably 30 years ago, is written on the premise of what's happening right now. The Russians went on the attack, took back all the countries that used to be Russian, and just kept right on rolling through the Fadala Gap in Germany, and rolled right out through Europe. And by the time the Americans could stop them, they were already, just like the Germans, they were already in France.
So what does that mean, Tom? What if they do that? What if they go back and claw back everything? What happens then? What is the purpose of that? Like, I need education on this, I suppose. Maybe some other people need the education on it too. But what is their purpose of doing what they're doing right now then, if it's not to assist Ukraine with what's going on there, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense from the information I'm getting.
It's not that they're not going to assist them. It's the point is of, okay, Nazi Germany. Hitler took back everything that used to be Germany and more. The Russians always had the philosophy that these broken countries like the Ukraine, Serbia, Croatia, all that, Romania, they were all part of the Russian Empire at one time. Mm-hmm. And they've always held the premise in mind that it should be one united Russian Federation. Now, if they go in there to help people, yeah. But who's to say they're not going to create a military presence and stay there?
Did they help put that president? Did they help put that president in place in Ukraine?
That I don't know. That I can't say yes or no, but I would imagine they had some kind of a hand in it.
Because I wonder about that. I wonder if there was something, they said they've been building on this for quite a while, and that was the scheme, is actually to make sure that they handpicked him, basically. They put him in place. And what's the agenda? See, anytime I look at something, I'm always looking down the road. Okay, well, what's the point here? How many different ways could this possibly play out, and what is the end goal? So what are they actually doing?
See, the United States has played the game too in a couple of different countries, Cuba being one of them, Central America being another one, El Salvador. Cuba, we trained Fidel Castro and his army here in the United States. We backed them.
We seem to train every bad guy out there.
They took over Cuba and turned communist. Danny Ortega, we backed in El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
The day he came to power, the next day he turned communist and threw us out. So we played this game too.
So, Jarhead, you seem to think that you have some strong feelings on what you actually gained or what you lost by going over to the Middle East. So what did the U.S. gain by going over, and what did they lose, besides a lot of troops?
Well, is not only the troops. This soldiers right now, Marines, whatever you're gonna call it, these guys have issues. I mean, I got Marines that are retired or got out, have all kind of medical reasons, to the point that they have PTSD, TBI. I mean, the guys can't even be members of our society. And I'm not going to even get into this, but if you put a claim on the VA, it takes 18 months, a year and a half to get an answer back. So meanwhile, we got these young kids that are freaking traumatized out of combat, and then they explain why they can't adapt into the civilian war. Maybe because 6 months before that time they were shooting at people. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't see.
They have a bunch of. Sorry.
No, I mean, I get it. I trust me. I think this guy in Russia is a threat to the United States. Anyone that tells the United States, you know what, man, whatever you say, we will not comply, and we're gonna do whatever we want, is a threat to this nation. If he took over this country, like I think it was JH6 saying, nothing's gonna stop him to continue taking over countries. So yeah, definitely we need to deal with this situation. But we got troops in Afghanistan. Maybe we need to readjust the war. I mean, we were in Iraq and we are readjusted to Afghanistan. If we got to go to combat, we're going to need to withdraw out of Afghanistan. We can't deal with both conflicts. I don't think we can.
Okay.
See,
go ahead, Tom.
Here's the thing, though. World War I, we had a very small standing army. We went into Europe, Allied Expeditionary Forces. We generated an army pretty quick and did our thing. World War II, we had a very small standing army, navy, everything. And within, I think it was 9 months or 18 months, we outdid everybody. And I think we're going to have the same problem here. You're looking at probably, well, even worse now, you're probably looking at 2 years for this country to actually start getting a war production footing. Because, I mean, at that time we were a producing nation. Now we're not. But we have enough trained National Guard and Reserve units on ground now that's been through Iraq and Afghanistan, to where they have some kind of combat experience that could help defend this country if something, God forbid, like that should happen.
So defend this
country.
Okay, right. But you're talking about defending the country, not going over to defend another country, or the interests of what though? Again, I always look forward to what's sort of gain by going over there? We must be going over there to intervene on what? To save people.
Here's the biggest thing you're talking about going up there. The American troops do not trust the leadership that we have right now. And I think it was Solo was talking about the morale. The military's morale is like so low. I mean, Jacob was talking about Gates in the military. Let me tell you, U.S. Marines walked around. If you ever served in the military, and Tom could tell you and things like that, if you ever see a Marine, you would know that he's a Marine, because he think that he is the best thing ever. Like, he walks around with his head up. Marines are like that. And you know what? I'm not going to say that they don't deserve it. They do deserve it, because you tell Marines to take care of business, and Marines take care of business. That's it. I seen guys. I've been in bases in a base about the size of probably your kitchen. That was called a patrol base. And recon guys. I've been there with recon guys and planning attacks to hit a house right across. And the guy's telling me, hey, look, at 9 times we're gonna do this and this and this. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm gonna die tonight. That's what I was thinking. But I'm not gonna get into that, because that's not to say here on YouTube. But what I'm trying to say is that you have gays in the military, which it took a lot of the Marine pride away. Like, a lot of Marines are not proud of being Marines anymore because of that. Like, Jacob could tell you, a little bit of that proudness, like, oh, I'm a Marine, it kind of like went away a little bit when that happened. And then you have our military members getting killed in some place, and their families not getting the money because the government's shut down. And then I was in Japan. I was serving in Japan, when we were actually counseled, like we had to go to meetings where they tell us we may not get paid. Now you think about this. I spent 14 months in Iraq, 12 months in Afghanistan. I spent about 7 months on a ship in a U.S. carrier, or whatever you guys call it, the one that has planes in top. And you know, by that time, I was in the Marine Corps for 10 years. When you tell me you're not going to pay me, you're actually insulting me. Like, that's insulting, that you're going to tell me that you're not going to pay me. When I'm training guys to go to combat, that was my job, training you for combat operation. And we just had a guy in our unit that got hit really bad. He lost his legs. So we got a guy that just lost his legs, but I had to tell my platoon, you know, 30 Marines, that it's a possibility that you will not get paid. And you have to come to work. I know you're not going to get paid, Marines, but you're going to come to work. So what I'm trying to say, the morale, what the U.S. have done to our troops, you got World War II vets standing on the memorial, and the memorial is closed. That is their memorial. They could do whatever they want there. That's their memorial. They went to war for it. What do you mean it's closed? If a guy wants to walk inside, he walks inside. That's his. So to stop this rant that I'm going on, because I'm getting freaking upset about it. The military is losing that for the government. There is no longer that, hey, you know what, I'm going to go to combat and fight for the country. Because why? The country doesn't respect your rights, and the country doesn't even want to pay you. So meanwhile, you got your family back in the States, you're a young Marine, your family with your baby that is 2-3 years old, and you're in Afghanistan thinking, man, if I don't get paid tomorrow, how is my wife going to buy milk? What do you think is going to happen when you're getting shot at? Your mind got to be in the game. Jake, I'll tell you, you have to be in the game. There is no time for you to think about, my wife doesn't have money to buy milk. That kind of thinking will get you killed. Yeah. And that's what's happening right now. So now,
here's the thing. Now, if what you're saying is true, and the morale is down, and they don't follow the leadership's what the propaganda they're putting out to them, I'll call it propaganda, I suppose, or the literature they're putting out, then what do you think is going to actually drive these people to go over? They're going to force them to do it? Probably not. But if the American people, and included the American military, who's back here, who has been jaded, is basically demanding the government let them go over because some kind of injustice has been done. Now that switches things around. Has this ever happened before? Has anything ever played out where the U.S. citizens has demanded that our military goes and takes care of business? Because that could happen again, and that's what I'm saying. So it might not matter that there's jaded, jaded opinions.
I got to tell you right now.
Actually, it has.
I'll bet it has.
If I'm a Marine with 4 years and thinking to re-enlist right now, I would actually think about this, because what was it? 2 months ago, they passed a bill that was going to deduct, or they attempted to pass something, and J-Hawk, you probably help me on this one, that it was going to subtract 1% out of our retirement.
Oh, they did it, bro. They did it.
It's done, yeah.
They did it already?
Yeah, they did it, and there's no fix to it, and that's thanks to Paul Ryan, too.
There's another 2% coming. There's another 2% coming, is there not, over the next 3 or 5 years?
No, not another 2%, but, and this is something a lot of people don't know, but they've actually got a bunch of military leaders right now trying to figure out how to revamp the military retirement system. And now that it used to be, anybody who joins after they pass something, then whatever it is applies to them. They have never before ever done what they did now, which is actually hit us all. And right now they're looking at revamping it. It's supposed to come out in May. And just because it's a bunch of military leaders that are doing this, don't think they're not going to try and cut us. That we've already given our blood, we've already sacrificed, they've given us enough, according to some of these generals, because these generals are making $10,000 a freaking month on retirement. They're like, well, you know, I can afford to live off of $9,000 a month.
Yeah.
So go ahead, cut 1%.
And I think the main private talked about is stealing. Stealing.
Yeah.
If you come to my house and I tell you, hey, look, man, you paint my room and I pay you $100, and you paint my room and I pay you $90, I just stole from you because you did a job for me that was for $100. And it's the same thing. I stayed in the Marine Corps to retire, so when I retire, I could enjoy that benefit. So when you take away my retirement, you're stealing from me, because I cannot go back in time right now and take away a firefight that almost killed me. Because if I could go back right now, I'd go back to December 22 of 2004, where I hit a car bomb and an IED, my squad, and I almost died. If I could go back in time, I could go back in that day and take that day out of my life, and trust me, I probably will have a better life, because some of the things that happen will follow you. So, and again, I mean, we're talking about U.S. and Russia. Are you willing to send, like me, if I'm a troop right now, if I'm in Russia, maybe something will happen where I'm not getting paid. I don't trust this government. If you don't pay me, who's going to support for my family? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to support for my family when you have threatened me multiple times with not paying me? So if I'm 4 years in the Marine Corps, I may get out because I don't trust you guys to support me. Because that concept of, look, guys, you guys go to combat, the country will take care of you, is no longer true. That is not true. And we've seen it in the news. We leave dead bodies in the airport.
You know what I would like to know is why haven't they, why is it that welfare checks go out? And I don't have a problem with welfare. But why is it welfare checks go out and military pay can be used as a political pawn? The reason is because welfare checks are part of the mandatory spending. It's going to happen no matter what, while the military pay isn't. And so with that, I say make a law and change it. We should get behind all of the congressional people that are willing to actually change the law so we can do that. But that's just me. As far as you know, one thing I would like to say is the Russian military, they're big and they're powerful, but so are we. We do have more capabilities with what we have. The problem is we're all over the world, and they're not. You know, they've got a lot of resources. Their economy is actually crap, and each day that goes by, the oligarchs there in Russia, they're losing billions every single day that this little problem goes off. And Tom, you can probably speak about this too. During the old heyday, the Russians had 3 categories of troops. They had line troops. They had classified A, B, and C line troops, or maybe NATO. We gave them those classifications because not all their troops are trained. Not all their troops have the good equipment. You know, they have X amount of Class A trained and equipped troops. They have X amount of Class B, X amount of Class C. You know, you put an Abrams tank up against any Russian tank, we're going to destroy it. The only thing the Russians will have is the fact they have a lot of them. You know, and you know the T-72s was the best tanks the Iraqis had, and they were Russian tanks. And we didn't lose not one Abrams tank to it. So, I mean, we have the power. We're just moving away from it. Yeah. Now, are all the American Abrams tanks gone? No, they're sitting in the desert out in, you know, all different parts of America, sitting in dry storage. We can go and pull them back up. We could have that power again. But the military itself, the Army, they're moving away from the Abrams because they're too heavy. They're too expensive to maintain. It costs too much to train in. And so they're moving to the Strikers. You know, and I don't know what a Striker can do to a T-90 tank.
Yeah.
I think it's about, honestly, I think, they just, there's a gain, obviously, there's an access there through Ukraine, and they want to secure it. I really think that's it, and maybe you're right, maybe the Russian economy is crap, and they've been worried about it, and this is one way to ensure that things are going to stay straight. There's a gas line or something going through there, is there not?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I had that correct. Now, if that's the case, I mean, maybe that's all it is. And maybe if we just mind our P's and Q's here and see where that goes, as long as they're just there to babysit that pipeline, well then, whichever. If they want to make a deal with Ukraine, let them do it. I mean, they got how many Russian-speaking people there in Ukraine?
Mm-hmm.
How many actually, if you give them a vote, how many of them would actually say, yeah, we have no problem with this? So maybe the media is making a huge hype of this. That's the only other thing I wanted to kind of say.
That's the problem.
Well,
That's
hey,
been
General
the problem for
Banter,
years.
so what happens when Putin says that Moldova, which is right next to the Ukraine, and all of the pipelines that run through the Ukraine that go through Moldova, oh, well, hey, we need those too.
Well, there we go.
When is enough? When is enough is enough. Just so you all know, America has sent more troops to Poland and Lithuania. My biggest problem with the whole thing is we guaranteed sovereignty of the Ukraine. We guaranteed that sovereignty. And now we're going to back away from it? So what's going to happen when China goes after the Sudoku Islands? Because since 1945, we've guaranteed the sovereignty of Japan. Think about it.
Means anything.
And just so you know, that Russian ship that's in China, or in Cuba, that's just an intel ship. But they are sending
intel, yeah.
They are sending 2 more warships in that area. And oh, by the way, let's not forget that Iran is also sending a warship into the Atlantic in that area as well. Not that 3 warships is anything our U.S. Navy needs to worry about, but there's more going on, and unfortunately, we're too busy playing the Obamacare crap, the Connecticut anti-gun movement, confiscation stuff. Chess pieces are moving all over the place. Venezuela is freaking in a lot of trouble right now, and it's like we're just focused on so much crap. There's so much stuff going on. We need leaders. I told my brother the other day, right now, what's going on in the Ukraine, we need JFK back in office, or we need Ronald Reagan in office. What do we have? We have some community organizer who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he picked all of his little buddies who don't know what they're doing either to be his advisors. We got not Condoleezza Rice, I wish we had Condoleezza Rice as a national security advisor. She has a PhD on Russia. No. Who do we have? We have the chick that went out and told us that Benghazi was because of the video. Freaking, she's our national security advisor right now. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
This is the way
This
is the way I think about things. If we were a strong power, say circa 1970, maybe even less, maybe 63, then we have the moxie to say, hey, you know what? Move your ass. Right now, and this is only the way I see it, this administration and prior administrations has got this country so weak on itself that there's going to be a 10-year comeback just to put our own people back on their own feet to where we can say, hey, we're Americans. Because although us service vets, we are Americans. 90% of the people I talk to out there is like, yeah, I'm American. And that's the thought of it. Yeah, I'm an American. How many kids know? How many kids ever heard or seen or read part of the Constitution of this United States?
They
Well,
better
they don't
hurry.
that many.
They better hurry before they don't get the actual real Constitution actually, allowed to read it, because I mean they're going that way with the sounds of it.
Well, yeah.
How many?
Hey, Tom, you've seen the new Second Amendment that they're pushing through the school systems now. But
Oh yeah.
I got. Go ahead.
This flag that flies behind me here. When I was a kid, and you seen that flag, you had respect for it. When you were a kid and you seen that, when anybody under the age, I'd say, of 30, or over the age of 30, seen a flag, they had respect for it. Under the age of 30, I'm finding more and more kids that don't even know what the half-staff flag is for, let alone give a good goddamn what the flag stands for. They don't care. That's the kids that I'm seeing. Now, as far as foreign policy measures, well, I was a soldier once, and I think it was best said in the movie, a soldier goes to fight wherever he's told to go and fight. As far as foreign policy measures, the Middle East, I understand we need to have a power there to protect our interests with oil and gas, but you know what? If this country wasn't such a sellout, we have our own oil and gas.
I get it.
As far as
Hey, Tom, you brought up something that is critical. The only reason the Russians have any power right now is because 30% of all of the oil and gas come from Russia. We could destroy Russia financially just by powering up what we have here. Build
Right.
the Keystone Pipeline. With the Canadians' help, we could freaking export so much oil they wouldn't even need Russia. Russia needs the oil prices to be over $100 a barrel. We could jump in, we could frack and start doing stuff like that, build that Keystone Pipeline. We could push out so much oil. It is unreal. We could drop the price of oil down to $80 a barrel. Russia would go bankrupt like that. We have over 3.8 trillion barrels of shale oil sitting in Colorado and Utah. Just in those two states, 3.8 trillion that we can actually pull out of the ground. There's actually over 5.8 trillion barrels sitting there. We just can't drill it. If we could get into that, we would be the next Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia doesn't even have 3.8 trillion barrels anymore.
now,
And that's not even including what they're finding up in North Dakota or what's sitting in Canada, where their prime minister is sitting there waiting for the freaking American president to say, okay, you know what, screw you lobbyists, I'm going to go ahead and let the Canadians bring the oil down.
outside of all of that,
Yeah.
this is my personal opinion, and it always has been. If your finger's not big enough to stick it into the dike and stop the leak, don't stick your finger in where it don't belong. Middle East people, they've been killing each other since mankind began.
Yep.
People in Russia, that whole area, the Ukraine, Lithuania, and all that, Bosnia, Serbia, they've been doing the same thing. Now, we don't have a finger big enough to stick into a dike and stop all of this. Even with all of our NATO powers. It's just not going to happen. They're going to kill each other in the middle of the night. Somebody's going to sneak into another guy's house and cut his throat. We're not going to stop it. So just let them have at each other. Keep our fingers and our nose to ourselves until, you stick your finger in the meat grinder, it's going to get cut off.
Yep.
You stick your arm in there, there's a good chance you're going to stop the meat grinder. So, don't go sticking your pinky into a meat grinder. That's the way I look at the whole thing. Let them kill each other off. They've been doing it for thousands of years nonstop. Why is it any of our business to stop them?
Okay.
Because we said on a piece of paper, hey, wait a minute, we guarantee you the right to not have violence. Guess what? They told the American Indians that 100 years ago too, and you know what?
Yeah.
They massacred them.
I got to tell you, Tom, we could do away with the Middle East completely if we just produced our own stuff. We have the resources now. We start producing our own oil, the stuff that we have here. We wouldn't even need to worry about it, and we could do just what you're saying. You guys want to fight? Go ahead and fight. We don't care. Do it. Just don't mess with our ships. You mess with our ships as we're coming in and out, we're going to kill whoever it is that's doing it, and then we're just going to keep moving our ships through.
If I'm not mistaken, General Banter's the only non-military guy here?
Yeah.
Am I okay. Now, us being military guys, we've been in the situations before. Let me ask you this. You're up in Canada. You're sitting in a bar, you're having a drink, everything's nice and dandy. Some guy walks up to you, clocks you in the side of the head.
Yep.
Do you fight?
Yep.
Okay. Some guy clocks the guy down the end of the bar in the head. Do you walk down to the bar and stick your nose in?
That's his problem. Unless I see somebody who can't defend themselves. And again, that's it. If I see somebody who can't defend themselves, then I might step in. However, that's only if I have the three principles I run by: time, resources, and safety. If I know I can handle it, like you said, I don't stick my finger into a freaking hole that's gaping, okay, and think I'm going to stop the problem. Okay. Now the fact is, I've got law enforcement experience, and I've got backgrounds in martial arts and so on, and so I'm okay with that. But like I said, if I think I've got the problem and I've got the time and the resources, I'll take care of the problem. But if I don't think I can handle it, I ain't putting myself in there. It's just not happening. It's the same thing in law enforcement, same thing with the military. We don't go into a problem half-cocked. We go in when we know we've got the solution.
Well,
we have
I got like 357 right here, and I'm ready for it. Just saying.
Well, like I say, you know what? I'm very careful when I talk about politics and other people's military and other people's ideals, other countries. Because first off, I've got a lot of subscribers, and I don't want to lose them. No, but really, my thing is this. I have always been the theory is that when the problem comes to my doorstep, I will take care of the problem. I will stop it at the door. However, tactically speaking, that's not always the best answer. We need to stop them at the perimeter before it gets to our doorstep. And so I do agree with that as well. But there needs to be careful thought put into it. And there needs to be good thought put into it. And I sometimes wonder, right now the U.S. military is spread so freaking thin all over the freaking globe, like JH was saying. Could you actually defend our country properly at this particular point? You're saying how many percent is actually military of your entire country? Was only 1%? Now, I'm sorry, but if the problem comes knocking on your doorstep and you've got all of your security placed all over the freaking globe, how are you supposed to protect right here at home? I mean, that's my biggest problem. And quite frankly, you guys are our biggest ally right next door to us, attached to us. We've got the world's largest undefended border, and we depend on you guys to make sure that nothing bad goes on because you guys are a bigger military. And I pay attention to what goes on in the States, to the economy, when you guys vote in new presidents, because we have agreements in place. And if your economy is going downhill, ours is bound to go downhill. And everything is linked at the hip. So, like I said, when you guys go to war, there's a good chance eventually we're going in. We might not have all of our boots in there, but we're going to have our toes in there somewhere. We're going to be well, I mean, that's it. We don't have the resources. We just don't. But like I said, and we have been over there and we've had our place. But like I say, I don't want to see it go this way. I really don't. Like I said, in law enforcement, we don't seal off a block with one person. We will make sure we have our people in place, and then we go ahead. I'm just worried that someone's going to start something before everything's in place, and I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't, because you're saying that the morale's down in the Marines that are even home right now. Do you try to call them back into service? Man, there's only one way that's going to happen, and just like Jarhead said, There's so many of them coming back and being shit on. And the fact is they're not taking care of them. They're not taking care of the families of the dead soldiers that are over there and risk their lives. So what's going to make them go back over there or even stand the line? Well, they'll stand the line here at home, but to actually send them back, as a Canadian, I sit back and maybe I don't have all the information, but I sit back and I wonder whether or not it would take something along the lines of making it so that you guys demand to go back over there. Now, what's going to make that happen? You know, like, well, I don't know.
Let me
if they come
throw
over
my
and
5
they,
cents worth in again.
Yeah, go ahead.
50 years ago, we had a thing called Vietnam. It was a very unpopular war that everybody said we had to go there and fight communism. That was the whole gist of the thing. We had to go there and fight communism, so it don't spread to our shores. We lost 58,000 men, actual count, and I'm not even going to speculate how many men we lost afterwards. Okay? And they could be physically in front of you and they're just spent. They're not here. These young men on the panel can tell you this. Mm-hmm. Now, we accomplished nothing. Boosted the hell out of our economy. I guess you would call it decreased the surplus of humanity. And that's about all we accomplished. We pulled out of there with our head between our legs. And you know what? Since this last really big fight for communism happened, the Berlin Wall came down, Russia became socialist, not communist. So what did we actually go over there and fight to stop communism for? We lost a whole lot of people for nothing.
And you know,
we never stopped it.
Tony talked about something, and I cannot even, I don't even know the numbers right now, but I know in 2010, we had over 80 something military members that killed themselves. I mean, you're talking about guys that came back from war that killed themselves, and we lost. I want to say 82, 84 guys in Afghanistan, and we actually lost more people to suicide than actually combat. More military guys a year are killing themselves than what we actually lose in combat. And that's what I'm saying. What are we going to gain out of going out there? Well, we can't do nothing.
I don't speak of this much. This will be probably the last time you'll ever hear me speak of this. I lost 10 guys out of a 12-man team on my last deployment. And the only reason why I didn't go with them is because I wasn't in the area. They come home with honors, and their family had to fight for their benefits.
Wow.
Their families had to fight for their benefits. There is nothing in this world, and trust me, nothing in this world that's worth going to war over unless somebody's beating on you.
No, I agree with that.
Now, my opinion is this, and I'm not taking anything away from you or anybody else that served over in Iraq or Afghanistan. We should have found bin Laden. We should have taken bin Laden out, and we should have went right out behind him.
Mm-hmm.
That was our enemy. The Taliban, you ain't going to stop. It's a guerrilla organization. You can't stop guerrilla organizations.
You could kill Daddy and Grandpa.
They've been trying it since the Revolutionary War.
Yep. It's a culture. You could kill Daddy and Grandpa, but the little boy that is 10 years old, when he turns 18, 16, 15, he's going to go back to the same thing he was doing, that his dad was doing. That's their culture. That's what they do.
So they said they've been killing each other for thousands of years.
You go there and you kill Daddy. It's all good. But when he turns old enough to be declared a man by the culture, he's going to do the same thing because that's what they do. So
he's going to do it with reverence because you killed Daddy.
Yeah.
Well, the United States killed Daddy. So we just made another enemy trying to defeat the first enemy. That's why you can't. That's why you can't defeat a guerrilla nation.
I disagree.
That kid's going to be raised from the time. You can't beat a guerrilla nation.
You can. I disagree. It's been done before.
Then they were lucky.
General Blackjack Pershing did it in the Philippines. The British did it in Indonesia, and the French did it in Morocco.
Yeah, but they did it by overwhelming numbers.
No, they didn't. Blackjack Pershing did it. He defeated a Islamic revolution in the Philippines because he caught 21 Islamic troops, put them in front of a firing stake, didn't blindfold them, killed a pig in front of them, had all of his people dip their bullets in pig's blood, and then they shot 20 of the insurgents, and then he told the one that survived, you go back and tell your people, before we go on another patrol, every patrol we will take a pig, kill the pig, dip our bullets in it, and then when we're done killing you guys, we're going to stuff pig intestines down your throats. 1 week later, revolution was gone. It would be done with.
He overpowered them.
No, he didn't overpower them. He beat them at their own game. The British, the SAS, did what you're talking about, and the French Foreign Legion it took them a while to do it, but the French Foreign Legion, they just killed everybody that was any part of the revolution. You know, it can be done, but that's neither here nor there. Right now, we don't have allies that are willing to do anything. Britain has already said they won't support us in any economic sanctions. Germany won't do it. You know, so we're pretty much out there on our own because nobody trusts the current commander-in-chief to actually do anything. He announces, we're not going to Sochi. Ooh, one person says we're not going to Sochi. Has any other country said we're not going to be a part of the E8 summit that goes on in Sochi? No. Britain's still going. France is still going. All the other E8 people are still going. We're the only ones that are going to boycott. Are you kidding me? We don't. Yeah. The biggest problem is we're weak right now. Do we have a military that could hand the Russians their butt? Yeah, we do. Technologically and all that other stuff, we have it. But at some point, you actually need mass numbers, and we don't have mass numbers anymore.
Yeah.
And to go back to Tom's question about what happened in World War I and World War II, well, Tom, you failed to mention something there.
That's it.
All of Europe for World War I had been at war for 4 years before we stepped in. They had bled their countries dry of manpower. We stepped in and we overwhelmed them just because we hadn't been at war with anybody. World War II, same thing. They had already been at war. Japan had been at war since the early 30s, and so has in 39 was when Germany and them went to war. They had already bled everybody dry. We have the capability of producing a lot, but it takes time, and we are now the country that has been at war for 13 years. Our people don't want it. There's a big difference between World War I and World War II and today. It's a huge difference. But I will say this. Let somebody step foot on American soil and see what happens. And,
good Lord.
And anybody who throws out that fake Yamamoto quote of, we don't want to invade America because there's a gun behind every blade of grass, first off, you don't know what you're talking about because Admiral Yamamoto never said that quote. He would have had to commit Harry Carey had he have been so foolish as to utter such words. The Japanese people don't believe that. That is defeatism at its worst, and Admiral Yamamoto was a true freaking He enveloped the whole concept of Bushido. He would have had to have killed himself had he have said those words. I lived in Japan for 9 years. Those people still live like that.
Mm-hmm.
He never said that. That's a fake quote. It's a great quote, but it's fake.
Actually, I think that was said about the Russians.
No,
If I'm
you go on YouTube. Everybody on YouTube says it's Admiral Yamamoto when he's talking about America. Not true. Not true. And just so you know, it's not true. They did invade America.
yeah,
They took some islands up in Alaska.
they took Attu and Kiska, and there was another one they took in Alaska. They have actually bombed the West Coast with mini subs.
Yep.
And the East Coast too.
They set balloons up too to catch some fires that actually made it to the States.
We want to know what to do. Do you really think we have a plan to respond to some type of attack? I mean, you got people flipping out for go plus.
Hang on now.
If we get attacked, I think, and Facebook goes down, people will be flipping out over Facebook. What you saying, man? People do not know how to deal with this. A lot of our society is very well taken care. I mean, you live in a country that pays you money if you don't work. You could go to a place and be like, listen, dude, I don't work, and they pay you money and they give you a cell phone. You know, I tell you what, in Cuba, this is in Cuba, because you guys know, I was born in Cuba, in case you didn't know, subscribers.
What?
You're not
Cuba, really?
In Cuba, in 1995, when I left, and I need you guys to listen to this, if you did not have a job, you went to jail for 4 years. 4 years in jail. Because the government would say, how the hell do you support yourself and your family if you don't have a job? You must be doing something wrong. You must be stealing. You must be selling things in the black market. You must be doing this. So you're going to go to jail for 4 years. In this country, they give you a cell phone and pay you money. This is the best country in the world. People are comfortable. People are so comfortable right now that I'm telling you, like I truly believe that we are close. We are in the beginning of going to a World War III, and people are not even listening to this. I bet you people are searching more Justin Bieber than this, and we have the possibility to go to World War III. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm not looking at it the right way.
People that are in the military.
You can't see that poster there, can you? All right, sorry, never mind. Just making sure you couldn't see my Justin Bieber poster. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Tom.
People who are in the that's all right. People who are in the military know what our capabilities, even for as long as I've been out, could possibly stand to be. People who are civilians take it for granted that their country is going to defeat whoever drops on here. 90% of the populace don't really care until it happens. That's just the way it is. All them school shootings, nobody said, hey, is this kid crazy? Give him a psychological evaluation? No. When it happened, then they gave him one. That's just the way society is anymore. They don't give a shit till it happens to them. Now, I will say this. If we have a Red Dawn situation in the United States, God help whoever's floating down in them parachutes or being dropped in the airports, because every gun-toting redneck in the world is going to be fighting these guys.
Yeah.
That I will say. You step in American soil, you show people you're attacking them directly, I would say 60% of them is going to fight tooth and nail.
I gotta update my Facebook status first, though.
Well, you can get that on your iPhone while you're shooting at somebody. You just give it time.
Yeah. Shooting at bad guys. Picture like this.
We all got to go practice ghost ops now.
You got to get a selfie of you with your gun, right?
Yeah.
Took another one down. Hey, you know,
I will create a YouTube channel just fighting the Russians.
You know, I got to tell you, you know, we laugh about stuff like that, but for those of you who don't know Marines, we really are kind of stupid when it comes to stuff like that. My brother, he got a Navy comm with a Combat V. It was actually originally written as a Bronze Star, but it got dropped down because it took him forever to find him. But there was a squad of Marines that were pinned down, hiding behind a car. They had a RPK shooting at them, and the Marines weren't shooting back. My brother sees the Marines over there. He sees they're pinned down, and he sees them not shooting, and he's like, okay, they ain't got ammo. Now, my brother, he used to run like 3 miles in 16 minutes.
Oh,
he was a speed demon. What's really messed up is when the general he used to drive for would beat him across the finish line and run back to catch him. So to push him along. So anyway, my brother grabs two ammo cans and runs across 4 lanes of highway while being shot at, mind you, in Ramadi. This was all in Ramadi. Drops off the 2 ammo cans and runs right back across. He doesn't shoot at the people shooting at him or nothing like that. He drops off the ammo cans and runs back. And so, thank God, the Iraqis don't know how to lead people, because, believe it or not, there is actually a video of my brother doing this. Because why? One of the Marines that didn't have ammo filmed my brother coming across the freaking road to deliver ammo to him, and then run back across. And then when my brother got back across, he saw an Armadillo 7-ton, which is a completely up-armored 7-ton. You can't really destroy these things, right? And so what he did is he drove through an Iraqi house with this truck, and then put the truck in between the Marines that were pinned down and the machine gunner, and then the Marines, he backed out to get that squad out of there. Needless to say, when my brother told me the story, he showed me the video, and I was like, who did this video? He's like, one of the Marines in the squad. He had a little handy damn camera and was videotaping this crap. I'm like, why wasn't he shooting? He's like, he was out of ammo. So he figured he'd film it. Right? And then I looked at my brother, I'm like, if you knew the truck was there, why didn't you do the truck thing first? He's like, I didn't see the truck until after I came back. Oh my God. But Marines, we do some stupid stuff. So when Jarhead6 is saying, yeah, I'll just pull out, and get me a selfie. And, pow, see that? You see it? Watch the muzzle flash, guys. Pow, there goes another Russian. Yeah, Marines would do stupid stuff like that. Yeah. We would do it.
I'm not saying that you're the only guys that would do it. I met a couple of Navy SEALs, and a few of them that would... they're nutty enough to do that. We'll shoot, you film. Okay, we'll send it back to our ladies. Okay. There was a documentary on Discovery Channel not too long ago. The guys were taking fire behind they had these big barricades, I guess you guys have now. You put up. They're kind of like an armored fencing. And yeah, maybe that's what it's called. I really don't know. But they're sitting behind these barriers taking rounds, and the guy's got a broomstick with his iPhone on it above the thing, just flashing it around. I don't know if he was filming or just popping pictures or what was going on, but he's sitting there with an iPhone on a broomstick. And I'm just sitting there laughing, thinking to myself, yep, that's what we boiled down to.
Could be recon.
All right, guys, J-Hawk, I think we're gonna cut it, man, because
okay.
You know,
No, you got some schoolwork to do, right?
yeah, man. For you guys that don't know, I'm going for a master's in business and administration. So, and
Hey,
that
by
is
the way, good
kicking
luck.
my yeah. You got anything, Jake? Any final statements?
Hey, all I gotta say is, I really hope we don't get into a war over there. Putin's got us by the balls, and he knows it, and he's gonna push it for all it's worth. I just hate the fact that our country is as weak as we are right now.
Yeah. Tom?
Final words. It used to be God bless America, but I think at this point in time it's God bless the world.
Yeah. What about you, General?
Basically, I just like to see that you know, your politicians basically hold strong and show the rest of the world that you guys, what America has been and what it should be today. And honestly, I believe in free speech, but you know what? I don't think the media should be allowed to talk your president down for the rest of the world to see. And I think your president should fill the big boots of a president that they should, and think about things clearly, but definitely don't show signs of weakness. I think that'll go a long way. So there it is.
Well, to kind of recap, I just think that if we go to war, I think we could take care of business, but it's just gonna cost us way too much, and I don't know what we're gonna gain out of that. So I don't know, man. I think this is a difficult situation, but I definitely think war will be like the last resort, because it's gonna cost the American people way too much.
Should always be the last resort.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. We had a bunch of guys watching today. So I appreciate the support that you guys giving us, and I appreciate the comments, and there's a lot of comments we have today, a lot of involvement with the subscribers. So I definitely appreciate that, and God bless everyone.